Okay, so in this video we're going to discuss the relevant anatomy as it relates to your shoulder injury, like we discussed at the evaluation. So the shoulder joint, we're going to zoom in right here, is a ball and socket joint. So the ball part is relatively larger than the socket part. So in order for this joint to maintain stability, it has to be reinforced by ligaments and muscle. So it's a ball and socket joint. Cool. All right, so the first layer we're going to add is the capsule. So the joint capsule provides stability to the joint itself. It's like a big Ziploc bag, and it also provides lubrication to the joint, so it moves nice and freely as you reach up overhead, behind the back. Okay, it extends all the way, it wraps all the way around. All right, the second layer, we're going to add these ligaments in, 1, 2, 3. This third one goes all the way underneath the arm and around the back. So these ligaments essentially are like rubber bands. So like a rubber band, you can stretch it out, but then when you leave the tension, it returns to its resting position. Stretching can extend the length of these ligaments, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what you need to know right now is that these ligaments provide the stability to the joint, the passive stability to the joint. Okay. We're going to add a couple other layers. Okay. So again, this is just a thickening of the capsule itself. So now it's wrapping all the way around underneath. And we even have an extra attachment on the top. This just goes to show how important it is that the ligaments are in providing the stability to the shoulder joint. Okay, there's a couple ligaments up here that prevent these two bones from moving independently. So it just, again, reinforces the stability of the shoulder. Okay, the bursa, there's 7 bursa in your shoulder. These are small fluid-filled sacs. There's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one on the back, 7. And essentially what these bursa do is they just provide a cushion, like protection, where the tendons might come in contact with the bone. We don't have to worry about those for this though. Right, so we're just primarily speaking about the ligaments providing the passive stability. Okay, the next thing that we're going to add is the rotator cuff muscles. Okay, so the rotator cuff muscles, they provide the dynamic stability. Right, so as you go to reach up overhead, behind the back, to the side, these 4 muscles right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, keep the ball and socket nice and tight together as you go to perform partner lifts, do handstands, move your shoulder around, whatever it is you're doing. These 4 muscles attach very close to the joint and they keep it nice and tight. Okay, the last layer we're going to add are the larger group of muscles. So group 2. These provide the dynamic mobility. So these are the muscles that we think of when we're going to do a push-up or a handstand. They provide the actual movement to the shoulder itself. So you have your pecs, your delts, there are 3, your deltoids, 1, 2, 3. And then we have the muscles in the back, your traps that control the scapula, this bone that we saw before, and your lats. Okay, then you have your triceps, your biceps. So again, these are the primary movers. They provide the dynamic mobility. All right, so now we're going to watch a quick video on why it is that you experience that pinching pain in the front of the shoulder when you reach up overhead. We're going to come to the left shoulder. All right, so we're going to zoom out a little bit. So we see as we reach up overhead, all these muscles are working in concert with each other to provide that motion. So again, the deltoids, your traps, provide the dynamic mobility of the shoulder. So they're the ones actually doing the work. We're going to fade those muscles out. We're going to take a bird's eye view. And if you can see this supraspinatus muscle right here that's highlighted, where are you at? There we go. It's acting to stabilize the shoulder joint as you reach up overhead. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit. And as you reach up overhead, you can see that there's a very small space for that muscle to perform in. Okay. If there's any type of shoulder injury, whether it's this muscle, the supraspinatus itself that's injured, or anything else that's going around, any one of the rotator cuff muscles, if there's a bone spur, if there's bursitis, this mechanism will be reduced. It won't be able to work as well. So as you can see, 1, 2, pop. There's a very small space for that muscle to move in. Very, 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 very tiny. And oftentimes this muscle will get pinched in between these two bones. And that is precisely the pinching that you're experiencing when you go to reach up overhead, push up off the floor. It's also a stretching kind of discomfort if you reach behind your back, as we can see here. If the muscle's on the outside, okay, this is going to the back. And if we're trying to reach up behind our back, like riding our thumb up along our spine, this muscle gets overstretched along the front. And if you have a muscle or tendon issue, it will be a little uncomfortable. Okay, so that is the relevant anatomy as it relates to your shoulder injury. I hope you enjoyed this video.